And good morning. Good morning, Americans. Good morning, America. Welcome to the Dennis Herrera Show. Guys, if you are in this live, please go ahead and check in with a quick hello. I know for some of my American patriots not able to get on at this time, but we will get started on here now. We're actually going to be listening to Mike Johnson on the government shutdown, and I think he's going to give us some information about the Epstein files, I think is what he said. So let's get into it, and hopefully everything is good and sound. Let me do a quick check on the sound here. View, let's go. All right, Cool Cat Renee, how are you? We got good sound over there, my friend? It always takes a while for me to catch it on my phone for some reason. All right, well, hopefully you can hear me. And let's go ahead and get into it.
Weeks since the Democrats have decided to close the entire federal government. I mentioned yesterday when we were gathered that this is now the longest full shutdown in American history. And yet again, Senate Democrats voted for the 11th time, 12 times overall, when you count House and Senate Democrats, to prolong the pain and keep the government closed. So we want to talk very briefly with you this morning about what that means, and then we're going to give you a little update on the Epstein matter. So far, this is what it means. So far, what this shutdown has caused to the economy and to the people of this country is really unconscionable. The U.S. economy has now lost hundreds of billions of dollars. We have federal workers who are desperate for pay and uncertain when they will get their next paycheck. You got families wondering if they'll go without food assistance next month because many people rely upon that. New federal loans and disaster aid have come to a complete halt, and the stewards of our nuclear defense stockpile are being sent home on furlough. Think of the implications of all this. All of it hurts the economy, it hurts our national security, and it hurts the American people, and the Democrats seem not to care. I was watching Republican Senate Majority Whip Barrasso this morning on an interview, and he said it, I think, very succinctly. He said the Democrats are practicing the politics of pain. I'm not sure I could say that any better. That's exactly what it is. And you think of what's happening right now. Think of what they have demanded in exchange as a ransom, the hostage they've taken to reopen the government. They're demanding taxpayer-funded health benefits be restored to illegal aliens. They're demanding that we spend billions of dollars overseas for ridiculous programs that the American people do not support. They want to claw back the $50 billion that we just got signed into law on July 4th to support our rural hospitals and all sorts of other crazy things. They're demanding taxpayer-funded health benefits for illegal aliens instead of agreeing to pay our men and women in uniform and provide vital health services and all the things that our most vulnerable Americans depend upon. It is unforgivable. And this is an indisputable fact. Everybody can see this, and everybody in this room knows what I'm about to say is true. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are terrified of their far left base in New York and around the country. So they have given in to their demands to shut down the government so that they themselves can get the left's approval and somehow salvage their political careers. That is the whole story in one sentence, okay? That's why Schumer said shamelessly that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. Who's the us? He's talking about he and Hakeem and the Democrats who are afraid of the far left base. So today I want to put a finer point on some of the very real consequences we're seeing and what they mean for Americans around the country. And I'll zoom in on some of these key Democrat states where the senators continue to dig their heels in and vote against opening the government. Yesterday from NBC News, here's the headline: air traffic control staffing issues cause flight delays across the country. The Secretary of Transportation said 53% of flight delays are now due to staffing issues, and usually that number is 5%. From Colorado, food banks face growing crises as shutdown impacts become a reality. That's the headline from Sky High News. What are Colorado's two Democrat senators doing? You've got Hickenlooper and Bennett. They have both now voted 11 times to keep the government closed. Virginia, here's the headline yesterday, KSL. Virginia employees fear shutdown's impact on veterans' medical care. And meanwhile, there are two Democrat senators, Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, have voted repeatedly to put their thumb in the eye of those veterans, and they won't end this pain. From Hawaii, Hawaii News Now says, headline, government shutdown impacts telehealth for seniors in Hawaii. Seniors in Hawaii rely upon telehealth. Guess who's shutting it down? There are two Democrat senators, Brian Schatz and Mazie Hirono, voted again and again to keep the government closed and disrupt the health services for seniors in their own state. They've got a lot to answer to. From California, here's a headline, ABC 7 News. Alameda food banks step in to help TSA workers, families impacted by government shutdown. That is disgusting. And both of California's senators, Padilla and Schiff, have voted 11 times to block the pay of those TSA agents and their families, the paychecks they rely upon. From Illinois, WIFR, yesterday, federal courts in northern Illinois reduce operations due to government shutdown. The courts are reducing operations, and you've got Illinois Democrats, Senators Duckworth and Durbin have voted to keep the government closed. We can do this all day long. That's a sample. Democrats used to care about the harm that shutdowns caused hardworking Americans, but now we can all see very clearly that was always based on politics and not principle, because they have thrown the principle out the window. And yesterday, there was an article from The Hill that laid bare that very fact. A Democrat senator was speaking anonymously and admitted, quote, people are going to get hammered if they vote for the House passed bill to reopen the government. The clean, nonpartisan CR, they're going to get hammered. Another insider said in that same story, quote, we would have enough votes to reopen the government if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine, okay? They mean it metaphorically, but in a political sense, that's exactly what they're concerned about. And think about the fact that we're just laying out here. These are simple facts. We come out here every morning and remind the American people of what's going on. Do not let them distract you from the facts. The American people would have an open government if Democrats were not terrified of their radical base. That is the headline. Every single one of you should write that. That's the ugly truth. The Democrats are not governing in good faith. They're covering their own tail. They're out here decrying the so-called forthcoming health care crisis, they say. It's the one that they themselves created. The Democrats created Obamacare. They're the ones that created a subsidy with an expiration date. They're the ones that did all of this. Republicans are trying to fix it. And they're trying to blame Republicans for the crisis they themselves created. They cry foul when we won't bail them out of their own shutdown. I don't have anything to offer, as I've explained. I don't have any partisan priority I can pull off of the CR to make it more palatable for them. There's nothing to negotiate. They just have to do what they've always done in the past, that they did 13 times during the Biden administration, and they did as recently as March of this year, to open the government so that people can get their services and their paychecks. And they go before cameras incredibly, and they just lie to the American people over and over. It's a stunning thing to watch. It's time to stop the political games. The Democrats have got to stop this so that we can get back to the work here. For the sake of the American people, I hope they do. I hope Democrats finally come to their senses soon and the pain will end so we can reopen the government and get back to the hard work here. Let me say this. Now, while congressional Democrats continue their dangerous political games, the bipartisan House Committee on Oversight is conducting its investigation into the heinous crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. And it has continued. It has not stopped during the government shutdown. You have some of the, as I like to say, some of the toughest bulldogs in Congress on the Republican and Democrat side who are united in this cause for maximum transparency of the Epstein files. I'm for that. Chairman Comer is for that, the Oversight Committee chair. You'll hear from him in a moment. All these leadership team are, all the Republicans in the House are for maximum transparency and always have been. My good friend, Chairman James Comer, is going to give you an update on that shortly, but I just want to make a couple of key points very clearly before I bring him up here. Congressional Democrats are rudderless right now. I don't know how else to describe it. They don't have a message, they don't have a leader, they don't have any identifiable set of policy solutions for the problems facing the American people. Their party continues to hit all-time historic lows in poll after poll after poll, and many of you have reported on that. These are objective facts. They're utterly lost as a party, and everybody can see it. So what are they doing? They see a shiny object, and they latch onto it. Democrats did not say one word about the Epstein files for the entire Biden presidency. They had all the files in the Biden DOJ. They didn't say a word about it. 4 years, not a word. And suddenly now they somehow convince themselves that the Epstein files will be damaging to President Trump and Republicans in some way that they've imagined. And so they feign outrage. Let me be very clear about this. I've met with some of the Epstein victims. Some of these brave women have come forward. They were here on Capitol Hill, as you all know. We heard their stories. It's gut-wrenching. It's disgusting what they've been made to go through. And they bravely came forward. We're working around the clock to ensure that justice is served, and also as part of the oversight to figure out why justice has been delayed for so long. All credible information we will ensure is released to the public, and we also, at the same time, are fulfilling our responsibility to protect the innocent victims. By the witnesses' own testimony, these ladies who've come forward, they estimate there may be as many as 1,000 young women who were subjected to these heinous crimes. And many of them have chosen not to come forward and show their faces and reveal their names because it would compound the harm that they've already suffered. And so we want to protect those people. That's the sum total of all of this. That's our responsibility. And short of that, we want maximum transparency. And that is exactly what the American people are getting right now. That oversight investigation, they're working around the clock. And here's what the latest update, if you're not keeping track. They have now subpoenaed and released 43,000 pages of documents. They have subpoenaed and released DOJ and Epstein estate documents, with more to come. They've issued 11 deposition subpoenas, and they've released Bill Barr's deposition transcript. Just a few days ago, they released the transcript from the interview with Alexander Acosta. They requested and begun to receive suspicious activity reports from the Treasury Department, and the department is fully cooperating in that. And they published letters from Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, and James Comey stating they had no knowledge or information related to the committee's investigation. Those documents include the ones that were released on Friday of last week, okay? The Epstein estate documents include his personal phone logs, his travel logs, his financial records, the ledgers that many people have been wanting to see, and even his daily calendar. The investigation and continued document release is ongoing even as we speak. And let me say this clearly as well. The bipartisan House Oversight Committee is already accomplishing what the discharge petition, that gambit, sought, and much more. The Epstein estate files that have been this new treasure trove, the third batch of information released right now, was not even included in the discharge petition. Didn't even think of it. And again, the investigation is bipartisan, it's nonstop, and it's far broader in scope than what is covered by the discharge petition, and has already yielded significant results. Unfortunately, some Democrats, and sadly even a couple of Republicans, have tried to make this a political issue. They seem to be more interested in trying somehow to lay a glove on the president than in securing justice for these victims, and I think that is shameful. But as Chairman Comer will tell you, the work of the bipartisan investigation continues, and we brought him here to share with you some of those thoughts. Chairman Comer, thank you for your hard work, and take it away.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As Speaker Johnson already said, today marks the 21st day of the Schumer shutdown. Democrats' political games are hurting hardworking Americans. This week, essential federal workers won't receive their paychecks because Democrats voted against paying them. That includes Border Patrol, CBP agents, TSA, FAA staff, DOD civilians, FEMA responders, and Capitol Police officers. The overwhelming majority of Americans oppose this Democrat shutdown. Democrats know it, so they're trying to distract from the fact that they shut down the government by pushing a false narrative about President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Let me be clear. No one is protecting Epstein or his associates. The House Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough review of the federal government's handling of the Epstein investigation, one that goes far beyond the discharge petition the legacy media is obsessed with. To date, the Oversight Committee has released over 43,000 pages of documents and issued 13 subpoenas. We've conducted a deposition with former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr and a transcribed interview with former U.S. Labor Secretary Alex Acosta. I don't think I need to remind anyone in here, they are both Republicans and both former cabinet secretaries in the Trump administration. And guess what? Those interviews completely debunked the Democrat smear against President Trump. Barr stated that there was no evidence that President Trump was involved in Epstein's criminal activity. Acosta confirmed there was no contact with President Trump during the Florida case. No link, no conversations, nothing. Despite these facts, Democrats, especially Ranking Member Garcia, continue to spread lies about President Trump. And they are lies. They're infected with an incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome. Oversight Committee Democrats post daily about Epstein. In fact, they've posted or reposted about Epstein nearly 60 times on X since the shutdown began. You know how many times they posted about essential federal workers not receiving paychecks because they voted against funding the government? Once. They've posted about that once on the Democrat Oversight Committee and over 60 times about Epstein. You see where their priorities are. Let's be clear. Democrats don't care about transparency or accountability in this matter. The evidence we've gathered does not implicate President Trump in any way. Public reporting, survivor testimony, and official documents show that Bill Clinton had far closer ties to Epstein. We're working to bring former President Clinton in for a deposition, but the Democrats aren't helping one bit. You would think, since we've already brought two former Trump cabinet secretaries in, they would be willing to bring in a Democrat who's had publicly a far closer relationship with especially Maxwell and Epstein. So why is that? That's a question every reporter should be asking Ranking Member Garcia and every Democrat on the committee. Why aren't you helping to bring Bill Clinton in for an interview and deposition just like we brought in Barr and Acosta? The Oversight Committee remains committed to accountability and transparency for the American people and for Epstein's victims. Our investigation has not stopped during this shutdown. We've released more documents just this past Friday. Democrats need to stop playing games and vote to reopen the government. With that, I yield back to the speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Comer, and truly appreciate the hard work you continue to do to get the facts out. And that's what this has always been about. I want to continue to get those facts out, and your committee has been working tirelessly to do just that. As we enter the third week of Chuck Schumer's shutdown, I think nobody can sum up just what is really going on better than the article yesterday in The Hill. You know, we've been saying up here for weeks that the real motivation behind the Democrat shutdown of the government is that they're afraid of the most radical far-left elements of the Democrat Party base. And yesterday, The Hill, in a pretty riveting article, laid bare the underbelly of the Democrat Party's motivation. It truly is fear of their own party's base that has driven the Democrats, especially in the Senate, to shut down the government. It's a calculated decision. And the continued votes, including yesterday, to keep the government shut down has been a direct result of the fear Democrats continue to have of their own party's base. Some of the most radical elements that you saw at the Hate America rally. We showed it up here on this dais yesterday with some of the most vile things that you saw. Many people that were holding signs calling for the death of the President of the United States. That's who Democrats in the Senate are most afraid of. And they're willing to inflict pain on millions of American families. And I think it's very important to understand what they're saying. There was one Senate Democrat aide who said people are going to get hammered by their liberal base if they vote to open up the government. So they're not concerned about the millions of families who are suffering because they're keeping the government shut down. They're just worried about getting hammered from their own base. And the Speaker laid out some of this too. There was another senator who said, quote, they'd vote to open up the government yesterday if left to their own devices, but don't want to risk an angry backlash from their base. They'd be more than willing to do it. They know it's the right thing to do to open up the government, but they're scared to death of the backlash from the radicals in the Democrat Party. Another person said enough Democrats would vote to reopen the government, quote, if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine. You know what that means. When they're more scared of their own party's base, you talk about profiles in courage, that's what we're experiencing. And maybe the worst was this, because the speaker's gone over and over with some of the different states and the pain it's causing, not just here in Washington, but all around the country. In every state, there is real pain being inflicted. People that aren't sure if they're going to get another paycheck if they're working for the federal government. And there's a state, Georgia, that has a number of military bases, a lot of other federal workers. NIH is headquartered in the state of Georgia. And what is one of their senators, Senator Ossoff, thinking about all this? Another Democrat said, Senator Ossoff's calculation is, quote, do I vote to open the government up and get crushed and can't raise a single dollar of low dollar money? Or do I vote to shut the government down and get $3 million from online fundraising? That's disgusting. Senator Ossoff is more concerned about getting low dollar donations from maybe some donor in California who's going to click on an email and give him $100 for his reelection. And so he's causing suffering on tens of thousands of people in his home state of Georgia. Senator Ossoff ought to send that tainted, dirty money back if he's raised $3 million off of the shutdown, off of the suffering he's caused, just so that he can get some more money from radicals around the country. Go look at his finance report during the shutdown. The low-dollar donations that he's more concerned about getting than opening up the government, which is the right thing to do, because they're scared to death of their base, because they want to keep getting low-dollar donations from the most radical members of the Democrat Party. That's what this is about. And we've been saying it, but now that Hill article truly exposed it, with anonymous senators finally speaking freely, with other Democrat aides admitting what's really going on their side. And when they asked the speaker, gee whiz, is there something else you can offer? What is there to offer to a party who's so morally corrupt and bankrupt that they're willing to sell out the American people because they're either scared of their base or they want to just keep getting low-dollar donations from donors around the country who are rooting for chaos for America, who want to undermine this country? That's what's going on here. And the American people are figuring it out. People in Georgia are figuring it out. They know why they're seeing the suffering, and their own two senators are voting for that suffering, and now you know why. It's laid out in full display for everybody to see. We're here ready to get back to the people's work for all the American people, not just for some far-left radical base who's holding the Democrat Party in D.C. hostage. Finally show some courage, some moral clarity. All we need is 5 senators to stand up and do the right thing, and it's long past time they do it. Now our whip, Tom Emmer.
Welcome to day 21 of the Democrats' shutdown, where Democrats have now voted 12 times against funding our government. Why is that? I'm going to read the same quotes from those anonymous Democrats. People are going to get hammered if they vote for the House-passed bill. A second person familiar with the political dynamics said centrist senators are fearful of breaking with leaders while party activists are planning the anti-Trump rallies. Another one, we would have enough votes to reopen the government if people were not terrified, as Steve and both Mike have pointed out, of getting the guillotine. Another Democrat strategist said the main driver is fundraising, which Steve just went over. Do I vote to open the government up and get crushed and can't raise a single dollar of low-dollar money? I mean, it's amazing, Steve. This is what it's all about. And this is what everybody in this room should be reporting every single day. they should be held accountable for this type of behavior because it is having serious consequences all across the country. Real Americans are getting hurt while these political elites in the defunct Democrat Party are playing political games. Border Patrol agents are being forced to go without mission-critical funding. Low-income families, nutrition assistance benefits like SNAP and WIC are being jeopardized, all so these Democrats can appease their radical pro-terrorist wing. That is what they are. You saw it. And anybody who wants to push back, then they should disavow any connection to people who are calling for the death of any elected official, let alone the President of the United States, which they seem to be fine with, or this Attorney General candidate in Virginia. They won't even do that. This is a party without a message, without a leader, and without a future at this point. They are well on their way to being left on the ash heap of history. It's despicable, and it's downright wrong. We've got news for Chuck Schumer and the soon-to-be former leader of the Democrats in the House. Your Hate America rally is over. It's past time for you to stop thinking about yourselves and start thinking about the people that you were hired to serve. The American people are not and should not be pawns in your shutdown games, and they should not be forced to suffer just so you can play politics here in Washington, D.C. Put an end to this madness, pass our clean CR, and let's reopen this government immediately. Our conference chair.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Mr. Comer, for being here. Again, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, right? Our side, a lot of facts. The other side, more headlines than anything, right? Press the other side on the facts, because the facts speak for themselves, no different than Chairman Comer laid out with all the work that he's doing, and transparency, right? It's been 1 month since House Republicans passed a bill to keep your government open. And how did Democrats celebrate? Well, they partied with communists and socialists who hate America, right? While Democrats were marching with their radical mobs, Republicans were actually meeting with Americans, listening, helping, and working. Let me give you a few examples. Congressman Ciscomani visited a food bank helping families with food insecurity. Congressman Rick Allen stood with veterans left in limbo by the Democrats' political games. And Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis thanked U.S. Park police officers while they worked without pay. That's the contrast. Because as the leadership team behind me said, I'm sure those low dollar amounts that they're raising, they're probably giving those monies back to the food banks and those people, right? No, they're putting it in their pockets. Republicans are working to help constituents navigate the chaos Democrats created when they chose to shut down the government. And the government and a shutdown should never be used for more wasteful spending. Democrats are performing for their radical audience. We see it time and time again. One side shows up for the American people. The other side shows off for their social media. The bottom line is this: Democrats are not fighting for you. They're fighting for the most radical 1% of their base, and of course, that low dollar fundraising number. They're also leveraging the shutdown to demand $1.5 trillion in wasteful spending, climate pet projects in foreign countries, and health care for illegals. But Republicans won't cave. We won't fund the waste, fraud, and the abuse that the Democrats so violently and vehemently advocate for. We won't hand your tax dollars to illegals. Those are your tax dollars. And we won't let radicals dictate America's future. So it's time for the Democrats to wrap up the photo shoots and end the who's more radical contest and vote to reopen the government. Let's get the government reopened for our troops. Let's get the government reopened for our families. And let's get the government reopened for the American people. Thank you.
Questions? Far right, yes, sir.
Yeah, a CR is only one way to fund the government, and some of your members are kind of uncomfortable with being out on recess for a month. So why not bring everybody back, work through the appropriations that you haven't passed yet, and sort of do an end run around Hakeem Jeffries?
Yeah, so couple things. First of all, 99.5% of the House Republicans understand exactly what we're doing. They agree with it. We talk regularly. We'll have another conference call later today. They have been out doing very essential, very important work in their districts, and their constituents appreciate that. I mean, they've been everywhere because, as Chairwoman McClain said, they've got to help cover the bases for the crisis that's been created by the Democrats. Now, the calculus and the strategy on when I bring everybody back, people have said, are you going to change your strategy? And I've said to you all very plainly in good faith, we don't have a political strategy here. I don't have a strategy. We're just trying to do the right thing. We did what has been customary here and passed a simple CR. Again, this is really important, and it should be a headline in your journals as well. This is the first time in history that any party has shut down the government over a clean CR. It's a clean CR. That's the whole thing. There's nothing much more we can do. With regard to appropriations, the House Appropriations Committee has done its work. They got all 12 of the bills through committee, bipartisan fashion, by the way. Got them through committee. Now we got 3 off the floor. Senate got 3 off the floor. They don't match exactly, so they're going to conference committee. The appropriators are working during this period when we're not here on the floor. They're working and coordinating amongst themselves across the aisle and across chambers to get the next batch of approps ready and teed up for House passage. As soon as we get back to regular legislative session, we look forward to doing that, and the clock is ticking. Remember this as well. The CR was set to November 21st. Was that a random date? No, that date was chosen by Republicans and Democrat appropriators, decided upon to allow for 7 additional weeks so they could finish the job that you just asked about. Right now, the great irony is the Democrats who say they want everything to be done, they are the ones that are eating up the clock. They're preventing that very thing from happening. So many of you have asked me in the hallway, is November 21st going to allow enough time? That's becoming a very dicey prospect right now because we need every single day. Now, the appropriators are working right now. As we speak, they're working on it. I myself have spoken to appropriators in the Senate on the Democrat side. I mean, we're trying to prepare this work and to get it done as soon as possible, but it is true that the pressure gets turned up every day of the calendar that's eaten up by the Democrats' political nonsense. Back row, yes, sir, on the best.
Thanks. CBS News is out with reporting this morning that a part in January 6th rioter was charged and arrested this week with threatening to kill Hakeem Jeffries. Do you have any reaction to that?
No, terrible. That's the first I've heard of that. I don't know anything about it. But anybody who threatens to kill any political official, we denounce it absolutely. They ought to have justice fall upon their head. All right? How about that? Yes, sir. Second row, Randy.
Thank you, sir. The Senate has sort of had this will they, won't they relationship with a Russia sanctions bill that has overwhelming bipartisan support. Would you like to see the Senate have a more accelerated timeline? And if they pass it during the shutdown, would you bring the House back to vote on it?
Well, I don't anticipate it will be passed during the shutdown, but there is a big appetite among Republicans, House and Senate, I can tell you, for tough sanctions on Russia. The president, as you know, you can take him at his own word, he's lost his patience with Putin. He's not a good faith operator. Obviously, he's the aggressor in an unjust war, and it needs to end. The president is using every leverage point he has to bring that a resolution, bring an end to that war that's killed so many people and cost so much money, and it's just been a terrible thing. Everybody on the world stage, I talked to my colleagues, my counterparts, the speakers of the various parliaments of the other free countries, the G7 and others, and everybody's unified on this. Everybody wants this to end. President Trump's the only strong enough figure on the world stage who has a chance of doing that. And you know he's bent over backwards to make it happen. Now, what we need right now is we need good faith on the part of Russia and Ukraine, that they would come to the table to work on a diplomatic solution to bring this to an end. The president's trying to force that in every way he can. The Republicans in Congress are ready to provide support for that, and any leverage that we can, including sanctions, we're open to, and we'll see how that develops. For sure.
Mr. Speaker, getting back to the threat to Hakeem Jeffries, this is one of a number of individuals that were pardoned as a result of January 6th who have been rearrested on various charges. Did President Trump make a mistake by just offering up a blanket pardon for every single person that was convicted as a result of
I don't know any of the details of this at all. I don't know who's been alleged to have been involved in this. I will say that anybody who threatens political violence against elected officials or anyone else should be have the full weight and measure of the Department of Justice on their head. I trust that that'll happen. I hope it will. We are intellectually consistent about that, obviously. I will tell you this. The violence on the left is far more prevalent than the violence on the right. Don't make me go through the list. You all know it. All of the assassination culture that's been advanced now, this is the left in almost every case that is advancing this and not the right. So let's not make it a partisan issue. You don't want me to go there. We're just going to say anybody, any deranged individual, this has to stop. And the rhetoric that you saw on display on Saturday, we highlighted yesterday, it plays into this, okay? There are people that get triggered. There are deranged people in society when they hear elected officials participating in a rally that was paid for by Soros and sponsored by communists with signs and placards and mantras that were repeated that we should bring death to, fascist politicians. What they mean is they call every Republican a fascist now. They're calling for the death of elected officials. Please, enough of that. We got to stop it. Stop the rhetoric, stop all the nonsense, and
But
stop
what
the
about the
violence.
blanket pardons, sir? Was that the blanket pardons? Was that
Look,
appropriate?
I'm not going to address it because I'm not sure of the details of this, and I think we've said enough. You know where we stand, and every one of you should stand there the same way. We denounce violence from anybody, anytime. Those people should be arrested and tried.
Mr.
Thanks.
Speaker, should the president have bipartisan negotiations?
No. The president should not have bipartisan negotiations. Now, I've been watching you guys on the chat here, and I will tell you something. It's okay if you have differences of opinions and things like that, but I'm going to show you a couple of clips that I have on my X account that you guys, I am telling you, I don't understand why people want to be so negative, so hateful towards other Americans. Let it be clear, our family, number one, is priority. And that means the American people. That means the green card holders. That means the migrants that are here legally, that respect the law and that respect the people. Watch the kind of culture that you are defending if you are not condemning it yourself. Very, very interesting. I don't understand why people don't seem to understand why we actually care about the issues here in America. Watch this. I am not making this up, but I'm going to say this. Anybody, now the reason why I say family, anybody that loves this country should be in this country. But they have to start from the bottom to the top, visiting legally, all the way to an American citizen. Now I want you to watch this video and you tell me if this is the kind of culture that you want to have in the United States of America. It is very sad. Let me show you this clip here real quick. This is from my X account. Tell me, you see that lady in there protesting? That is the leftist people protesting with kindness, with love, with tolerance, with patience. They truly love American freedoms, like the freedom of speech. You see that? You see what she's doing with her hand to the neck? Yeah, that's the same freedom of speech that you guys want to protect, right? That is exactly what you're looking at. And then I'm going to have to actually share the audio on this one right here.
These ICE agents gotta get shot. You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out. You gotta grab a gun.
Yeah. That is the people that you are supporting. I really don't understand. What is it that you want America to become? What are you defending? Like seriously, what are you fighting for? how can I put this in words that people will understand? If you are wanting freedom of speech, fantastic, phenomenal. It is a right as American citizens, not as illegal migrants. You don't have the right, the freedom of speech over here. As American citizens, you have the right. Even as residents, you have the right, but you still have to assimilate to the American people, to the American values. What are you asking for? If you're asking for freedom of speech, you got it. If you're asking for violence, you might just get it. This guy is calling out for guns. Guns. And shoot and kill people. This is exactly the people you are defending. Is that true? Please tell me in the chat. Tell me that you are not supporting violence. I know that everybody on the patriotic side, patriots of America, we don't condone violence. We don't want violence. But you see the videos here. This is your No Kings protest. I don't care if there was millions of people or if they lied about having millions of people. But what do you want for your children's future? Maybe you don't care about your children's future. Maybe that's just not important to you. I will tell you this. I care about my senior citizens. And Democrats, well, fake Democrats have been lying to them, have been fear-mongering them. We shared a video with Nancy Pelosi herself giving you a tactic that they use to lie to real Democrats. They make up a lie, a smear, she says, and then they leak it to the legacy media. They publish a story, and then they use those published stories as clips to back up their lie, and that is their tactic. That is how people get lied and deceived so easily. Because whatever CNN says, it must be true. Whatever Fox says, it must be true because they got that information. But we don't rely on legacy media. We rely on people like you and like me, that we are seeing what's going on around us. I tell you what goes around here, around me. You guys share what goes around with you guys. We're fighting for legal immigrants that deserve to be here. Why do they deserve it? Because they ask for permission, and they have been waiting patiently to be able to catch a break here in the United States of America. And when you are supporting illegal immigrants, those legal migrants lose their opportunities. It's not just American people. It's not just American citizens. This country loves migrants. No, migrants do not build this country, but they sure as heck help with their labor. See, there are settlers or builders, and then there's laborers or workers that come and do the job. But you don't get to take credit for building something because you already got your credit. You got paid per hour. That's your credit. And most of you that are immigrants that are in this country, let's not forget, most of that pay, most of that money actually goes to the people in your country of birth. And that's fine. But massive illegal immigration is horrible for any country. Just ask the UK. Ask England. Ask the Europeans that are suffering right now with these mass migrations. Except for Poland. They are still free. There's no crimes, no terrorist attacks in Poland. Go ask the Mexican president that not too long ago she was telling the people, mobilize. Go protest. You have a right to be in the United States of America, she says. As her people were waving the Mexican flag in United States territory. Go ask the president of Mexico right now. Go find out what's going on in Mexico. They are now feeling some of that poison that they told us to accept and drink. Now they are panicking. Now the Mexican people are revolting. Now the Mexicans are saying, "Get out of here, illegal immigrants." Now they're fighting against it. Now they're starting to say what we've been saying all along. Now they're saying, "Oh my God, the cost of living is going up. Inflation is rising too much." You think that you're the ones that need jobs? Us Mexicans, we need our jobs. We need our economy. Go back to your country and let your government take care of you. This is what the Mexicans say. And I love it. I love it that I get to live in a time where everything that we have said is true. Everything. Now, will I say that everything that President Trump is going to be perfect? Of course not. Nobody is perfect. We're going to say some dumb stuff sometimes. I probably say a lot of dumb stuff here a lot of times. But I own up to it. I accept if I am wrong on something. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Like, for example, there was a Mexican guy and a couple of Mexican guys that were in here in my live one time, and they told me that Honduras all the way down to Panama was part of Mexico, and I was like, oh hell no. I was like, no, we have been a Honduras, and I started looking. Oh shoot, really? What? And I found the information. It was true. It was true. And I said, bro, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I wanted to fight you on this, but I'm actually glad that I went to do this research with you, because that makes me even closer to Mexicans. That makes us even closer as a people, as Hispanics from Panama all the way to Mexico. Our Mayan descents, our Aztecs, not our Incas. Incas is South American. I forgot about that one. Palos Verdes, Oaxaca. Oh, you have all these Indian races from Mexico down. Yes, it used to be part of the United States of America, but we know what happens throughout the American-Mexican War and all this history, right? Mexico has been losing ground. They have gained ground for a long time, and now they're losing it. Well, today we have borders, and there is treaties, there is agreements, there is ways to keep our people safe, Mexicans safe. It's not just United States of America. I don't understand why people think that this is the only country that fights against illegal immigration. You know, one of our English, I don't know if he was a professor, but he was asked a question. And he's like, well, in the crowd, they were saying, what wrong can immigrants do in your country? He said, well, there's nothing wrong with immigrants. Immigrants is great. Mass immigration, especially illegal mass immigration, is not good for any country. Why? She said. Morning, Omar. Why? Well, because they can't keep up with building homes. There's way too much growth, too fast. In the United States of America, we got over 1 point something million people that get to come to migrate to this country. It has to have a slow growth, period. I've said this before. If you're new on my channel, first time you're going to hear it probably. But if we allow mass migration, specifically illegal, and the reason why it has to be illegal migration is because there is a certain amount of people that are allowed to come into this country. And let me be clear. Being poor in your country of birth does not mean that you qualify for asylum. That is not a reason to seek for asylum. We got poor people here in America. We got homeless people in America. And you know what this illegal mass migration has done? They have taken advantage of our homelessness. And they have been selling drugs to them. They've been using them as mules. People get killed left and right. Nobody knows. It's homeless people. They don't care. Trantifia, as Paul says, they have been infiltrated by the cartels. Drug dealers have come in and joined them. They give them a little bit of money, and that's what makes them go around. But they're infiltrated there. Illegal immigration does that. And you say, well, Dennis, you're a liar. You're a scumbag. You're a hypocrite. You can say all these things. But let me tell you something. When you don't know who the hell just came into your country, the uncertainty is very great. If I come into your house unannounced, you're going to be, what the hell are you, get out of my property. You're going to be against me 100%. And I'm okay with that because you are right. You are right. I should have called. I should have been waited to be invited. And then you know who's here and you know who I am, right? If you know that I'm a criminal, you'll be like, don't come to my house, bro. Don't come to my house. That is exactly what we want in the border. We have a border patrol that, even though there is a lot of inspections and drugs still come through the entry, through the port of entry. That doesn't go away. But when you have unchecked, illegal, especially mass, and I cannot emphasize enough, mass illegal immigration, chances that drugs will make it through go through the roof. Thousands and thousands of kilos of methamphetamine, fentanyl, and a bunch of other drugs has been seized from the streets. A lot of cartel members have been put in jail. A lot of people have been deported so that they can stand trial because they are wanted in their country. Listen, if you are laughing at the matter that cartels, and it's not just Mexican, let's be clear. Cartels doesn't mean Mexican. Cartels can mean even American citizens. If you laugh that we're trying to fight against crime, well, you are the root of the cause of the problem. And it's very unfortunate. Art says, Dennis, can you afford $2,000 a month for health insurance? Now, let me ask you something. Who would be stupid enough to pay $2,000 a month? Do you think they really will force the people to pay $2,000 a month for health care? The Obama health care has been a joke. I was never able to afford the Obama health care. So let's not talk about fictional fear-mongering issues right now. If the price goes up to $2,000, shoot, I am with you and I will fight with you. But right now, they're just using smear tactics that these fake Democrats have been using for decades. And the American people have been lied to and they accept it. And everything that they say, people believe on the left side. Now, when we say that they're being violent and they say, whoa, wait a minute, violence is on both sides, right and left. Well, I just show you a clip of this protest on the left. And I'm telling you, that's just 2 clips. There is lots of them. Lots of them. And every time you have somebody coming over to try to question them or ask questions, the ones that are paid, the ones that are organizing, they always tell the people, oh, no, don't talk to them. They're Trump supporters. So what? So what if they're Trump supporters? What is the problem? What is the problem? Have you seen that sign? Different hat. You know the rest. That's it. Same racist shit. Different hats. And they even put the hats of the Ku Klux Klan, which I find very ironic because the party that created that was the actual Democrats. Isn't that funny? That's funny, isn't it? Yeah. It's very interesting. Oh, the truth hurts. Paul, Dennis, you are the man, says Paul. Well, I'm going to tell you something, man. I love my Patriots. I love you guys very much, and I appreciate your support. But the ignorance that oozes out of these people, I still tell this day, guys, how many times have you heard me talking in here, and we're trying to make sense of things, and we try to understand what people are talking about. You know, there's people that come in here and be like, oh, debate me. It's like, oh, geez. I have spoken to so many people. And one thing that I have learned about speaking to people, when somebody believes what they think they know, it doesn't matter how much you explain to somebody that doesn't want to listen. See, if I ask a question, hey, Trinity, tell me, how come this is happening? And Trinity will go and give me an answer. And I'll be like, nah, that's a lie. Okay, wait, why would I ask you a question if I'm not going to believe you? right? It's kind of like the men that, the wife comes over and be like, honey, which dress looks better on me? And you say, the one on the right. And she goes, okay, I'll take the one on the left. That is exactly how fake Democrats and these libtards make decisions. They ask for an opinion, and then somebody gives them the answer, and they go with the opposite of it. If President Trump, you know what, if I was President Trump's advisor right now, I will say, President Trump, could you please tell the American people that we want more illegal immigrants in this country, and just see where they go with that. Just to see what happens. That's fine. It's just to see what happens. President Trump, I think what you do is tell Congress that you want the government shut down permanently. Do that. I think that's a great idea for the American people. Shut down the government completely. Yeah. President Trump, I think that you should tell the world, especially the libtards, that we want war. World War III is way overdue. Let's get it. Let's do it. Let's get the support. And let's see what they say. Let's also tell them, hey, we are not going to be attacking or stopping illegal drugs from coming into this country. We are now going to allow it. But don't worry, we're going to tax it. We're going to make some money. So we're going to allow illegal drugs to come into our country. And I think that's a great idea. I'm telling you right now, best advice you can give a libtard, because they hate Donald Trump so much, they're going to go against it. And all of a sudden, this country will be secure. It will be protected. There will be peace in the world. And there will be no drugs coming into our country. That sounds great. That sounds great. For I don't understand. Why is it that way? Why is it? When President Trump got sworn in, you guys remember them with their little signs? Liars, lies. You know what? This little kid, man, that's been going through a lot of rough times with surgeries. Remember the little officer that became a detective and all that stuff? They couldn't stand up. They couldn't stand up. They couldn't stand up for the little kid. They couldn't stand up for the victims. They couldn't stand up for anything that President Donald Trump was supporting, even though it was the truth. How sad is it that in our country we will hate our own people? Like we don't care what happens to our own people because we hate this one guy so much. I don't understand. Where is the love and the compassion of the American people? That compassion and that love that I know to be true. When did mental health care got out of control? Since when do politicians take senior citizens out of their adult homes with walkers, wheelchairs, some of them with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease? They got all kinds of old crazy people out there that need to be taken care of. They need to be stress-free. They shouldn't have to be out there having a heart attack, anxiety problems. These older people, guys, you got to take care of our elders, man. These are the people that need our health care. These are the people that need their Social Security not to be taxed. These people deserve to have that help. And I'm going to say 100% because the American government should do something to help. But that responsibility belongs for the American people to be taken care of. Not Mexicans, not Hondurans, not anybody else in the world. Americans first. Illegal immigrants should not be getting health care benefits. I am sorry, that's the way it is. If you're Mexican, stay in Mexico and ask your government to take care of you if you think the government should take care of you. For all of you Americans that are in here that depend on welfare, let me tell you something. I understand this is the way you were raised probably. But if you go to work, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. You're going to become a true American, and you're going to know what it feels like to be responsible. Because you see, just popping babies left to right, and they're just growing up with time, it doesn't mean that you're raising them. No, they're just growing up with time, but you're not really raising them, are you? Because you're not teaching them to be respectful to people. You're not teaching them civics. You're not teaching them to be patriots of this nation. You're not teaching them to be responsible. You're not teaching them that you have to work hard in this life in order to move forward. You have to work hard to make something of yourself. Do you know why we have a retirement age? Now, I'm not going to debate or argue the issue of when is the retirement age. Right now, I believe it's 67, I think is what it was. 62 early retirement. You get like an extra $600 or $700 less if you retire sooner. Listen, the reason for that is if you work your ass off until that age, most likely a lot of people will probably not make it that far. A lot of people do 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, and they get to enjoy some of that retirement. Good for them. Who says that you have to get some retirement 10 days before you die? I don't agree with that. The American dream should be absolutely work your ass off since you're 16 years old, because that's when you start working. 15, actually, I think is the age where you can start working. Work your ass off until you retire. And you should be able to retire fairly young, not old, ready to go into the tomb. A lot of elder people agree with me. And I love my elders. And we need to take care of them. But our country, American priority, should be our health care, should be for our elders, for disabled people, and for those who really need that health care. Can you imagine how many billions of dollars we'll save if we stop paying for illegal immigrants to come over here and have babies left and right? Not only are they wasting American taxpayer dollars, but they are also raising children that they don't give a shit about this country. They're going to be raising their parents' country of birth flag. We see it all the time. And I don't care how many Hispanics hate me for saying this, but let's be honest. So many anchor babies in California raising Mexican flags, Salvadorian, Honduran flags, etc. That is a problem, my American people. That is a problem, and that is coming from a migrant that has become an American citizen. You got a problem in the United States of America. You have a problem, and if you don't see it, you are blind. Or you are just the people that hate this country, and that's why you hate me. How can you hate somebody? If you are an American, this is what I feel. How can you hate a migrant that actually respects your laws, respects you as American people? I mean, don't you think that you would want to be respected by other people from the world? You know, I would think that you would. It is a matter of pride. Not the evil pride, but the pride that you are so happy and thankful that a lot of people sacrifice their lives to have the freedoms that you have. The freedoms that you as an American have. Can you imagine if I start talking hateful about other countries? How about if I remind Mexicans that if it wasn't for America's involvement, whether through fighting or diplomacy, right now they'd be speaking French and I'd just be saying, parlez-vous français, monsieur? Can you imagine if I started saying all that stuff and you started saying, hey, you know what, how about our natives? What if you guys were completely eradicated and you guys don't exist anymore and there was no reservations for you guys to have sovereign land? Can you imagine how hateful of a comment that would be to remind people of where they would have been? Even though it's true, it is true. People that come here to this country, they say, oh, well, wait a minute, you were colonized, you traitor coconut. So are you. The difference is I respect the law and I accept what our present time holds. I agree with horrible history that we've been through. Our natives, Indians, Mexicans, Central American, it doesn't matter where you go with it. They were fighting, trying to conquer land for themselves. I'm giving you guys history. They were fighting amongst themselves to see who can conquer what lands. Why? Because they wanted the resources. Why? Because they wanted the land. They wanted horses. Where do horses come from? They're not native to America. That's not where horses come from. Where did the cows come from? Shoot, I think even chickens. I think even chickens were imported into America. What do we have? Buffaloes. That's about it. And the natives were killing each other so that they can have game access. And I don't mean gamers for the youth that doesn't know what game is. It's hunting ability for food, for animals. Now tell me this: if the Europeans would have never came over here and showed us how to farm better, where do you think we would be today? Who do you think will rule this land if it wasn't for us? See, Americans have been blessed because they gave themselves to God. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's irrelevant. That's just what I believe. And I believe that the United States of America has been blessed because of people like you. Imperfect, but yet something inside your spirit gets stirred and you fight for what's right. We've had bad people and good people. I mean, we grow just like the good grass, just like the good crops. They grow with weeds around them. And unfortunately, that is the only way that you can grow some crops. But when it's harvest time, those weeds will be torn apart and thrown away. And all the good fruits will be saved for the people. That is exactly what we have in our world today, in our country. We have bad people and we have good people. How do we know who the bad and the good is? Well, the good people will normally go out and they will be defending people. They will be giving into the community. They will be working hard to make sure that this country stays safe, peaceful. They're going to make sure that the American values will stay intact. They will not allow for foreigners to come in here and put their own laws against our people. A lot of people don't like that I say our people, our history, my Americans. They don't like to hear that because they have jealousy in them. They're envious, and that just eats them up inside. But the truth is, there's a lot of migrants in this country, 100%. I agree. 100%. Migrants from all over the world are here. The difference is, any migrant that comes into any land, what people need is for those migrants to have the same values, to respect the same laws, and to have the order, but most importantly, to have love for the people in the land and to have patriotism in their heart for the people and the land. And what we don't want is other migrants. It's like having some good working ants, in the hill, and then you get these really bad ants that come just to destroy everything. I'm against that. So we have a lot of Latinos for Trump. We have a lot of blacks for Trump. Why is it that every single ethnicity, every single type of migrant that has come here, there is a great group of good people that assimilate to this country? See, this is the great migrants that I love. These are the great natives that I love. Now I get it. Natives are a little different species, so to speak, when it comes to how they accept or not accept. See, natives here in this country, they have reservations. They have their own sovereign land. They have their own policing. They have their own rules and laws that nobody else can touch. But there is a lot of them that love to see that the United States of America is getting greater and greater. Why? Because they benefit from the defense that the United States of American military provides for them. Do you think that if Putin came over here to an Indian reservation, that these guys are going to be able to fend off Putin? No, they wouldn't. You think if Putin will go down to California and take care of Californians, you think they will be able to defend themselves? No, they can't. The only reason why the United States of America, it is the strongest, most powerful nation in the whole world, is because we are the United States of America. That's the only reason. And how can we be united? Here we go. I'm going to make the list again just for you. Love this country, respect the law, and honor the people in this country. If you do that, here, I'll make it simple for you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, as Christ loved us. Well, if you say, whoa, hey, now wait a minute, now you're talking about religion. Oh, you're talking about Christ. Whoa, Christ would not deport people. Well, wait a second. I just said that migrants that have helped build this country, these migrants assimilate to the American culture, the American spirit, if you will, the American dream. See, everybody assimilates. And everybody agrees that they have to stand up for this country and they have to defend it and that they have to fight for it. You see, that's how it works. That's perfect right there. That's perfect right there. And then you have migrants that think they are entitled to their human rights to be here. Nobody is illegal, they say. Interesting. I don't think they understand why people have to be legal to be in this country. When somebody comes into this country, legal status into this country, they pass the background check. They fit all the check boxes that you need to be able to come into this country. And even then, bad people still come through. Wealthy people, yes, they do have a privilege. It's called money. They do. That's not a lie. It is true. But there's also great, good, wealthy people. I know quite a few of them. And I'm going to tell you, there is a story about this Chinese family. They started doing stuff in their garage. They joined with the daughter's husband and their brothers. And they have raised this company from a garage to now being a company that employs over 600 employees. And they all get free health care. Free health care from the employer. Can you imagine if these lazy people, now I'm not talking about people that are disabled, people that really need to get the healthcare benefits. I love you and I am more than happy to pitch in to give you that care that you need. There is a lot of children out there with cancer and other diseases that are very, very tough on kids. I get it. I support it 100%. But can you imagine this company? Some people complain about the pay, but they get free health care. Like if you're an employee, you don't have to pay anything. The company pays everything for your health care. Well, you know what I mean? They still got to pay the percentage, right, of the medical bills. It's not like 100% free like the government's health care. That's 100% free. I think actually you might pay a copay maybe. But that's how it works, right? We support that. But if you are employed, you get a benefit, which means what? Well, the health insurance that somebody here says costs $2,000, well, for a family, now you can pay $500 to maybe $600 premiums on your health insurance. But guess what? You're working. You're getting the benefit. You see, it's a different mentality than to say, wait a minute, so why can't I just be lazy and stay home? Well, that's how this country goes down the drain. You see, in America, when migrants come here and they assimilate to the American dream, the idea is that we get better and better and better. The idea is not to bring your third world country shithole mentality and destroy this country like you have your previous country. But you guys don't understand what you're doing. And I'm going to say this message is more for Americans, because illegal immigrants, they're always going to be against me. They're always going to be against me. Why? Because they know that they're criminals. They know they're wrong. And they know that the only reason they're here is for selfish reasons. And it's just all about themselves. Oh, I need money. Oh, I need this. Oh, I. Come on. This country needs legal migration. Why? Here is the thing. Whether you like it or not. Okay, here's a migrant. Here's a person that wants to come here. And I'm going to say this. Why you want to come here? Well, I mean, I need to make some money for my family. No. And why do you want to come to the United States of America? Well, it's my government. It's just, the government is keeping us poor. Well, no, I don't give a crap about that. Why do you want to come to America? Well, it's, I would like to get some health care. No, why do you want to come to America? People don't understand why that question is being asked. What I want to know is, you want to come to America, what are you going to do for the United States of America? You see, we don't want people here to be a burden to the government. It's very obvious. What the United States of America wants, it's people that are worthy of being in this country and that they are going to port something to our economy, to our government, to our country, to the people. We want to know what you are going to come here to give the United States of America, because it is a privilege for you to come into the United States of America. So what are you going to do? It's a big difference. It's a big difference. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to understand this. What is the difference? Well, the difference is, hey, listen, my mother, and I would ask my mom today if she was alive, if somebody wants to make a perverted joke about my mama, well, she's been gone for a long time. My mom says we are going to the United States of America because, well, I can afford to pay the house in Honduras. Okay, well, Dennis, you're a hypocrite because you just, well, wait a minute. I'm not done. But then my mom says, if there's one thing that we are not going to do, is be dependent on the welfare of the government. What we are not going to do is be lazy and not make something of ourselves. What we are not going to do is hate this country. What we are not going to do is break the laws of this country. That's my mom's advice. And I said, Mom, so what are we supposed to do? We came here for a benefit. No, you came here to work your butt off, make something of yourself, and give something back to the country where you're in. Have you forgotten your oath to the nation? No. Well, the oath to the nation doesn't mean that it's only for Honduras. The oath to the nation means that is the oath to the land where I live, where I reside, where my children will be raised, to the future of my family and the next generation. And what is the oath? Well, one is I am going to respect and honor this nation, and I'm going to make others respect and honor this nation. And if they are not willing to do that, well, they're called traitors, and they don't belong in this country. So for a lot of you illegal beaners in here in America, take it from a beaner that came here the right way. I know a lot of Americans get a kick out of that word, but hey, listen, you ever heard a saying, you are what you eat? Well, I love my beans, okay? I love my beans. I just haven't had them for a while because they don't have the beans from Honduras here, but once in a while I get some beans from Honduras. And guess where I find them? On Amazon. Amazing. It's a wonderful country, isn't it? But yeah, there is so many. Well, here we go. I'm gonna mention a couple in here. Let's see. Junior Vasquez is a Puerto Rican veteran. He's a Hispanic. Loves this country. Agrees with me. Cool Cat Renee is also Hispanic. Miguel Salinas, which is not here today, also Hispanic. There is a lot of Hispanics for Trump. And it's not because Trump is the person that we follow and we're loyal to Trump. No, it's because he is the president that is doing something for the United States of America. And see, a lot of the people that come to this country illegally, they don't talk the way I talk, because they were not taught the same thing that I was taught. And one of them is respect. You know, I went back to Honduras a long, long time ago. I went to Honduras and I didn't even need to do this, but my Honduras passport had expired. And well, I didn't have enough time to get go to the embassy and get it stamped again, blah, blah, blah. Well, turns out because I was a green card holder, I didn't even need it anyway. But I was making a line, which, by the way, it was long, long ass line, just so I can talk to a licenciado, or what they call here lawyers. They really are not like law lawyers. They're just more like paralegals. And what they will do is they will ask you the questions, blah, 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 and then they will tell you if the passport is good or not. Well, I am in line, and this lady just gets in front of me like I'm not even there. I'm looking at her like literally, she's coming at me, and I watch her and she gets in front of me. I said, excuse me, do you know the person in front of you? Like I was not talking to her. That is uneducated people that are entitled and have no respect for others. Those same people are also trying to come to this country as I am. And it happens a lot. This is why it's important for migrants to be vetted. Now, I don't know how many people the cartel has. Like maybe Luis Montalvo is one of them. Because he's always over here negative when I say something good about respecting the laws of the United States of America. People that call me, here's Rob, a liar, sellout. You've seen the names in here. You've seen the comments. I'm used to that, okay? Eric is a beta that has no common sense, apparently. Let me tell you something. If you are wrong about something, you selfish mofo, if you are wrong about something, the only thing you can do is insult. There's no dialogue. There's no talking. Just insults. Well, I, for one, I'm going to say I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful that I was able to come here and be a part of this country. You see, to me, it means a big deal. I don't raise my Honduras flag where I was born while I'm in this country. If I do, it's to show respect for both nations. But the American flag is priority in my life. And I'm a softie. I am very sentimental. I'm very emotional in some things. And when I look at the American flag, I'm not going to lie, it's not my favorite colors. But when I look at the American flag, I think about the history in this country. And I'm going to try not to get soft because I do get emotional. But I've seen movies, I heard documentaries, I've seen some real footage of war. And when I see the American flag being lifted, it is a sign of hope. And a lot of people that hate the American flag is because they say they have no hope. So they want to burn the American flag because they don't believe what it stands for. You see, the American flag doesn't stand for everything is perfect and you're not going to have to worry about anything. No, it means hope. It means that between all the troubles and tribulations that we go through in life, there is still hope for us as Americans, as people that are in this country, in this land. There is still hope that we will going to find peace, maybe some prosperity. I will say my faith lies on God. Jesus Christ is my King. He's my only King, my Lord and Savior. Now, people don't believe in God, I understand. But that's my faith. And then second is my country. And I think I will put my country first before any political party. So when you see me have my hats, Make America Great Again, it's because I love the United States of America. It's as simple as that. Don't make it too complicated. Don't overthink it. That's what that means. And I got to give credit where credit's due. And President Donald Trump, by far, has done more than anybody in this country has ever done. Period. And I will show you so many videos over and over. You see this on social media, even the legacy medias, they can't help. They have to show it. wars being stopped. Some we got really involved in. Others is because of the fear of the tariffs, etc. One way or another, President Trump has stopped 8 wars. 9 if they can get this Ukraine and Russia done. And the people, all they can do is hate on this man. Epstein files, please. 33,000 pages. And what more do you want? We already heard it today, this morning, at the beginning of this live. We saw the videos, and we saw what happened. They told us everything that we've been asking for. There it is. The truth is the truth. And you guys will keep denying it, no matter what. Let me tell you why I don't give a shit about your negative comments. When I see you on the street doing this stupid shit, I don't care about your opinion anymore. When I hear your side telling people that they're going to kill ICE agents, I don't care about your opinion anymore. All I care about is reaching out to Americans that are going to be the majority for the good. I don't care about the opinion of the leftists, socialists, communists, Marxists. I don't give a shit about any of them. My goal is to gather as many American patriots, as many American loving people that actually want to be in this country, that actually want to do something for this country, that actually want to promote peace in this country. We'll get rid of the evil ones. These people wishing for war, man, our enemies want nothing more than to see us go into another civil war. You know why? Because only Americans die in a civil war. And if you don't see that, I don't know how to help you. Man, that's powerful, ain't it? And it's not because I said it. It's because it's the truth. All right, I want to give you guys, that's enough ranting, until my part 2 of the day. And yes, you will see this sweater, whether you like it or not, all day. I may switch my hat, etc. Busy. The left side is asking for war. Illegal immigrants are inciting violence on the streets. When you hear millions are out there protesting, they're not Americans. The real protesting Americans are so small, thousands maybe. But most of illegal immigrants are causing riots. They're causing hate. They're giving drugs to Antifa. They are giving drugs to the homeless. They're running, man, boy. If you start just reading news here, just in Seattle, Washington, and Everett, and just some parts of Tacoma, 5, here, just in Washington State, thousands and thousands of pounds of illegal drugs, cartels, criminals, gangs, left and right. Yeah, I know. It might look peaceful to you in some videos, but that shit happens. It happens a lot more than I care to see. So yes, the reason why they want war is because, well, I show you a clip. You want me to show you again? Yeah. Let me go ahead and show you this clip again. Apparently, some of you guys came in late, so I'll give you guys a shot. Let me see here. Let me find it real quick, and then I'm going to show you. Okay. This is your leftist peaceful protesters. I hope that you enjoy this video here. There you go, buddy. This is your peaceful leftist people. Look at that. Shot in the neck. Charlie Kirk, right? Some of you leftist people love that. So there is that. And then this one, I'm actually going to give you the sound. And this guy right here, he looks maybe a little bit native. I can see the eyes and the nose. He might be native or Mexican. Either way, we're all Indian in there, so that's why we mix. So here's your video right there. And let's go ahead and play what this moron says.
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out. You gotta grab a...
Okay. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but this guy right here, in the back, he's holding a red flag. Now I know he's a black dude. Let me see if I can get a better shot. The red flag is one of the flags that Antifa uses, the red and the black. Now, I don't know what the rest of the flag is. Maybe it's something different. But just so you know, that is your peaceful leftist propaganda that you guys like to defend. I find it quite disturbing that this is what we have on the streets. Now, you guys call us liars. We're lying. We're hateful. We are the party of violence. And yet, you hear it right here. Take your guns. Some idiots in here, they think it's funny, but they 86-47 President Trump, right? I get it. Stupid people. They want to be relevant. They want to be, they want some attention. You know, I want attention. I want to be relevant, but I want the right kind of attention. I want to have the right relevance in this country. I wanna be heard as a patriot that loves this nation, not as a cancer that wants to destroy this nation. See, that's a big difference. Okay, you like attention? Yes. Okay. What kind of attention do you want? Do you want the good attention or do you want the bad attention? See, a lot of people that go into podcasts and they do YouTubes like this, like me, right? I got just a few people watching, and others got thousands and thousands of people watching. They do their craziness for clicks. They do their craziness for baiting and for making money. Of course, we need to make money, but they sell their souls for coin. I don't. I stay true to what I believe, and I am going to continue to tell the truth even if it sucks, because truth is not always a good feeling. It's not always a happy, joyful moment. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it embarrasses you. Sometimes it minimizes everything that you believe in. But if it's the truth shall set you free. And that's where I'm at with that. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for the people that have subscribed. I should have said that when we have 400 people on here. But I really appreciate it. Let me end with one of my most favorite videos. I think I still have it in here. Let me see. First of all, I want to show you this right here. And and I want you to tell me honestly, okay? I want you to honestly tell me what you think about this people that says, we demand to be taken serious. I want you to tell me honestly. So this group right here, I know it's just a meme, but they say, we demand that you take us seriously. What do you think about this? Tell me that you will take these people seriously. They're in Halloween costumes, and that's how they act. Oh man, I don't have it. Dang it! I was gonna show you my favorite Mexican, Hakeem Jeffries. Oh man, you guys already seen these stories, and then of course the crazy Candace Owens that we seem to have lost. She maybe somebody's doing some sort of witchcraft on this girl. I feel sorry for her. I really do. And for some of you, if you're a Candace Owens fans, sorry about it, but I'm not sorry. I says it as I sees it. And with that being said, guys, I am going to take my break for the morning. I will see you guys around noon. I got some emergencies that I may have to attend to, but I will try to be back on after 12 for our round 2, and then we will do our round 3 later in the afternoon. Guys, my love, my heart to you. Thank you, my American patriots. Thank you for all those Latinos that support me. And thank you for all the people that have come to this country legally And for those who are here illegally, remember, you can self-deport, you can get a free ticket to go back to your country, and you get $1,000 once you land there. Come on, that's got to be something to get you started on something. Stop supporting illegal immigrants selling their houses and their property to come here illegally to just do nothing but to become a weight and to become